Hi everybody, welcome to Simply Scuba. In today's dive brief, I'm going to be breaking down the latest equipment that's arrived for May 2022. So finally, new interesting stuff is really starting to arrive from a few of the really top brands. There's quite a few of them, so I'm going to try and race through them as quickly as possible, as well as give you some details. So let's jump straight in with the first one. So first of all, from Aqualung, we have the Hawkeye and Urchin mask, fin and snorkel, or just mask and snorkel sets. The Hawkeye is more for adults, comes in a mask and snorkel set, but also as a mask, fin and snorkel set if you want fins as well. But for the little ones, you've got the Urchin, which is a junior version of a mask and snorkel set. So great for a gift or if you're just starting out in snorkeling. If we move on to more of their scuba diving range, you've got the Reveal mask, has a new colorway, which is petrol blue, which is kind of cool. It's quite hard to describe the color of blue, but it is quite funky, and we're starting to see it in the rest of their range or in other sort of color ranges. Sorry, no, seeing that color range in their other mask, fins and snorkels and stuff is starting to arrive. So I think this is going to continue throughout the rest of their range. We also have their new fast strap, which is one of those elasticated bungee straps that you can fit to almost any mask. When I tried it here on like a bunch of different branded masks, they all fit, but we can never promise it will fit every single mask, but that did fit quite well. And the last one is the Sphera X mask, which is an updated version on the very popular freediving mask, the Sphera. The only real difference in this is that it's a much lower volume, so better for freediving. You can take it scuba diving as well, but it's more designed for freediving. But this, instead of tempered glass lenses, it has polymer lenses, which makes it very, very lightweight. It also means that they can bend as well. But of course, do be careful not to sort of defog it because the softer plastic lenses can't take as much of that abrasive sort of treatment that we usually do on tempered glass lenses. But yeah, for a very lightweight freediving mask with a very low internal volume, yeah, we got the Sphera X. Then from Beauchat, we have a few bits and bobs, mainly freediving. So we have the Shark mask, which again, much like the Sphera, is a low volume mask, but instead of those polymer lenses, it has tempered glass lenses. Two different colorways in this. We've got the traditional black and a kind of sandy, sort of browny tan color, which is kind of cool, a little bit different. Two of their freediving fins, the Mundial 1. So Mundial 1 is better for when you're just starting out. It's a all-in-one freediving fin, long fin, so it's going to conserve your energy, but that's more aimed at sort of beginners. If you're starting to get into freediving, just a nice simple pair of freediving fins. Then we have an upgraded version, which is the Mundial Elite. So that one you can exchange the blades. So if you want to change and switch it up to a different stiffness or something, you can keep the foot pocket and just swap those blades out, as well as a few other spearfishing bits and bobs, some floats, some surface marker buoys. So yeah, lots of interesting stuff from Beauchat. From Orca, we have two new freediving wetsuits, the Mantra and the Zen, both in men's and women's. These have very funky sort of patterns. They look very coral inspired down the sleeves, but these are more for freediving. They're meant to be much more flexible and to help reduce drag in the water. So the Mantra is a bit more basic version, still does the job and keeps you warm and lets you glide through the water, but for a really upgraded version, we got the Zen. The Zen actually has a hydrophobic outer shell to it, so that again just helps to reduce drag even further, to help you get further and sort of make that single breath last that little bit longer. But these are more for freediving, so they're more for flexibility, so they're not going to be restrictive in any way. You have plenty of flexibility when you need to move around in the water. And finally, moving on to Fourth Element, so they have all sorts of new interesting bits and bobs. I've got some of them with me today. The biggest ones are in their new mask and snorkels. They released a Scout mask last month, I believe, and that was a huge thing. We've sold out of most of the colorways already, but we have two new masks. We have the Aquanaut and the Navigator. Aquanaut is more of a low volume mask, more for freediving, but I quite like the style to it. And again, tempered glass lenses. You have two different colorways and two lens options. You get black and you also get a white with a teal blue colorway to it. And then yeah, the two different lens options, you get clarity, which just has fewer impurities in it, so a real like traditional view, very, very clear glass. And then you also get contrast, which is this one. I always get confused at the different names, but contrast. So this is good for like greener temperate waters. So if you're diving in here in the UK with those kind of greens, it helps to cut those out as you get those 2 lens options. So yeah, low volume mask. This just comes with a traditional silicone strap, but of course you can take that off and fit their elastic strap to it to upgrade your mask. Then we get Navigator, which is a bit more of a scuba diving mask. Bit larger internal volume, larger lenses with those modified teardrops, the classic shape that you see. This comes in 2 different versions, except this one is clarity, so that clear, very clear glass, no impurities to that, but you also get enhanced lens, so that's more for bluer waters. So when you're traveling abroad in nice blue water, it helps to cut down the blue a little bit and help to sort of just improve what you're seeing in the water. Similar to Aquanaut, just comes with a traditional silicone strap, but again, yeah, you can swap that up if you wanted to for one of their bungee straps. 3 snorkels in the range. So the most basic one is Float. So Float, as the name suggests, has a floating mechanism in that spine. So that's going to help if you drop the snorkel in the water, it's gonna float, so you can retrieve it that much safer. Otherwise, one detail that I do like is their little logo up at the top, which I think is kind of cool, but the rest of the snorkel is flexible. The actual spine itself isn't, so do be careful with that, but the rest of the snorkel is like a softer silicone, so you don't have to worry about that getting damaged, but otherwise, basic J snorkel. You have the Splash, which is an upgraded version. Splash has a wave deflector at the top to deflect water away from that airway. The main body of the tube, this is rigid, but it's oval shape, so a bit more hydrodynamic. And this has an actual removable snorkel clip, so you can leave one section attached onto your mask strap. Lower bend with that corrugated silicone, so the mouthpiece sits where you want it to, and a purge valve down at the bottom, so any water that gets trapped inside of that, every time you exhale, it pushes it out at the bottom. And all the way up to the top, we have Dry. So Dry is very similar to Splash, all the way up to the very top point, in which this has an upgraded version. It has a small float at the top that lifts up if you go under the water to keep water out of your mouth. Other than that, we also have the Expedition Series Dry Pack. So this is a kind of a large dry backpack. It has 2 roll top dry sections, so you can really start to organize your equipment, keep your dry stuff dry and contained, or keep your wet stuff separated. The material, it's that like PVC tarpaulin, so even if it's raining, you fall in the water or whatever, it's going to help protect what's inside, keep that isolated. And it also has a separate section right in the middle, so you have the 2 separate dry sections, and then in the middle you can pop your fins in there. Backpack straps so you can carry around. So this is for those really hard to reach dive sites. You can throw all your gear in there, including your fins on your back, and get to where you need to go, get kitted up and get in the water. And finally, we have the the Ocean Positive Towel. So from Fourth Element, they have their Ocean Positive range, which is where it uses equipment and sort of a lot of stuff to help reduce ocean plastics, basically. All of this range is beneficial to the oceans, hence Ocean Positive. And the Ocean Positive Towel is made out of organic cotton. It's inspired by, or the pattern on it is inspired by sea sponges. So you see that funky little pattern on it, which is very cool. And the actual towel itself is that good all-rounder. It's a decent size, but it's also the material itself is that like velour finish. So if you're using it as a beach towel to kind of just catch and raise, it's great for that, nice and soft, but it's also very absorbent on the other side as well to dry yourself off after a dive. And that's it so far. There are a few other bits and bobs that that have arrived in the warehouse, but they're not live on the website as of time of recording, so I wasn't too confident at sort of putting them in this video. Didn't want to disappoint you guys, but hey, I'm sure I'll mention it on the next one. So very interesting things, some new ranges from brands that you probably heard of. So yeah, kind of interesting stuff. If you head over to simplyscuba.com, right along the top there's a little tab. One of them is called new in. If you click on that, it just lists the most newest stuff that's just arrived on our website, so that's the best place to check it out. Or our Instagram as well. If you just search for @simplyscuba, then that's usually where I tend to put all of the newest stuff, so subscribe over there. Thank you so very much for watching, everybody, and of course, safe diving.